Okay, I'm going to show you the Timbuktu fulfillment management process. So first we shoot over to ShipBob to the completed orders section, and then we select everything we can and we export it. This is just faster than doing like a date filter, because then I don't know, like what day did I finish here, and if I put in 620, is it going to be like 620 at 2300, or is it going to be 620 in the morning? So I just export it all, if that makes sense. It's easier for me. So that has downloaded, and let me open this up. Give my laptop a little bit of time here. I'm recording, and I also have a bunch of Excel open. Maybe. Oh, that's acting myself. No. Okay, so here's my data. It's in a table format, which you can tell here, table tools. So the first thing I need to check is, are the headings the same in my sheet as they are in the export? And with the order ID, it's never really an issue. With these first columns, really, it's not a problem. But when you get out to the end, that's where it can get tricky. So looking for falses. So this is a false. So this is hardcover book. This is actually the only SKU we're going to be doing this process for. But we just renamed it. So that's the reason so actually it's going to be matched. But you can imagine if I went back into April, we wouldn't have all the SKUs we have now. So maybe we started selling the Coco Chanel poster some time ago. So I guess my point is, we're kind of fortunate that this hardcover book almost always comes out in column T. It used to come out in column S, but it's okay now. But if I was going to do this for something like my Coco Chanel poster, you'll see it's Coco Chanel here, but here it is Ada Lovelace. So it's very difficult for me to do this process for SKUs as they move to the right here for whatever reason. But anyway, we should be okay for now. So let's go ahead with the process. So we're going to copy all the data here. And we copy it. And we paste it in. So now we have this in. And then we have to add two fields out to the right side. So first is this volume 1. And what you'll see is it just takes this is essentially the quantity of hardcover book SKUs and divides it by 1. I can get into why that is. Let me do that briefly. And then the next, and the reason we do that is because if I jump over to the output, these are, you'll see all these numbers here are actually left aligned. So they're on the left side of the cell. And what that means is they are actually text. They are not data. So when I create a pivot table on this information, if I wanted to see, let me get the hardcover books. So you'll see there are 4,445 of the hardcover book. And if I were to go in and get in a sum of how many hardcover books, I get a 0. And that's because it's text. So what I have to do to get a pivot table to work is divide it by 1, because then it just turns it into a real number. So that's what this column does right here. This date takes the timestamp and it just trims up the timestamp into a date, because we want to summarize by day. So let me paste that throughout all the data. Then I jump over here into this deduplifier and I just update it. This tab is a little zoomed out, so let me jump in. So basically what this has is each order, it has the maximum date from which we have information for that order, so the most recent update, and then we average the number of books across all the orders. This is just much easier and it's much less computationally expensive than doing like a VLOOKUP or whatever. So anyway, all I'm trying to see is how many books went out for each order. Only volume 1s right now because we don't actually ship any volume 2s. So I have this done by each Chicago warehouse, LA warehouse. I have two tables to the right that represent New York and San Francisco. And then here I have only Shopify warehouse orders. Really, this should be something like BackerKit. It's basically, this is an approximation for show me stuff that is shipping to our end customer. So it's imperfect, but it's pretty much good enough. This is like 90% of our volume, so I'm fine with it. But yeah, if we had lots of API orders or something, I would need to like filter this. Basically what I don't want, okay, is receiving sub orders to collude the data, warehouse orders, and return orders, because that is not representative of my demand. So now we'll just jump over to Chicago. And basically what I have here is how things have moved through. These are kind of the headers. So this is a day, this is how many books, and this is how many books I've sold in the last lead time days, which is 20 on this sheet. So that gives me what I have there. I have basically two charts. So one is that quantity per day, a lot of noise, difficult for me to really understand the progression of sales, whereas quantity per lead time allows for a lot more intuition around overall trends. And then I will go in and I will take the inventory number. This should already be updated, but I will go over here to inventory status and then locations, which I think I already have open. I thought I did anyway. Chicago 6553. Really, I probably want to take out 68 too, but we don't do that right now. We try not to get that tight. Paste that in. So let's actually take out that 83 just to show a change here. So now I've updated that, and basically I have three tables. So one is my daily demand. So how many books have I sold in the last per day, and that's averaged across. I have a last 30-day window, a 60-day window, and a 90-day window. So can kind of get some intuition for how things change month over month here. Really 30-day over 30-day, but anyway. And then I have my sigma, which volatility, and then my max 20 days. So what is the largest number of books I've shipped in a 20-day period in the last 30 days? So we see 3690. So if I were to go over here, that would be probably down here. Okay, so basically on the 29th of July, if I went 20 days prior, I see 3,690 books moved out of my facility. So that is like the highest demand window that I've seen. It takes us about 20 days, so maybe that should be maybe 30 days or something like that. We want a little buffer. And then I basically see how many days stock do I have, and do I have enough stock to manage to like survive one of these demand surges. So we have this for Chicago, we have it for New York. You'll see in New York right now I'm running low, so I actually need to move inventory out. I have 21 days, and the reason for that is we just did a trade show and our stock got absolutely hammered. So we moved 990 books in 4 days. So it's over 1,000 in 5 days, which is just a lot. So basically, you'll see 2 days ago matches this max 20 days. So we really had a big spike. So that's why these numbers out here can be insightful, because you'll see that these are not most recent. So if I was looking at this on the 20th, I would say this would have been 907. This would have been something like 1904. And that's why I need this last 60 window, because it helps give me a lot of insight into have I just had a slow 30 days. Again, you can kind of see this chart there. So we just we blew it up recently. So the data matches with the chart, which is always encouraging. So what we do is we take each one of these and then we paste it into a sheet that is our master fulfillment sheet. So I have, I just go into Google Drive and I paste it. There you go, just paste it in. And then that gives us a summary of all of our positions. This data is out of date because I haven't done it yet, but basically now with this, I can see in each of my fulfillment centers, how many books do I have? How do I look on those 30-day windows? How many days, how many days inventory do I have? And then I have an all-in figure. I use this for production planning. 56-day lead time. In the lead time, how many, if this got close to 0, I'd be worried. So even this 32, little uncomfortable. Half a lead time of inventory left. And then we come in here and we show how things are looking. This is kind of inventory in X time period. And then we earmark large wholesale orders that we suspect are going to be coming. So I think 10,000 books are going to be coming out of Barnes & Noble. So we hop in, we just deduct that from the total. So this is kind of what that looks like. And that is just to get information for volume 1. So I export it for ShipBob. I also do Amazon Canada, US, and Friesens to give you insight into what it's like for Friesens. I export data, I paste it in here, and then the quantity doesn't come out, so I have to look it up and I key it in by hand. We have a formula here that we use to designate internal movement. So it is very different to have inventory move from our printing facility into ShipBob, which is what I believe this order is, compared to moving to an end customer like Raincoast Books. So basically what I'm saying is this column is total books out of the facility, and this is total books to customers, to end customers, let me say. And that's kind of how that works. From that we do planning. The main thing is making sure we don't run out of inventory, but we also do like daily sales burn downs. So what are things going to look like for us? When is my stock out date? If all in, if books continue to sell the way they are, I'm moving about 354 a day, and I will be out of books in mid-November. We're doing a print run, so this isn't accurate, but that is the case. And that's basically how we look at it. We roll this into a monthly forecast, so we summarize it a little further. This is not super intuitive, so I won't jump into it, but you can see we basically we forecast books, and we're moving into 2 different SKUs, so we're really outgrowing this current process. But at large, that's what we do. I would do this every day if I had more time. And then from there, we basically need a production plan. So we have volume 2 of our book coming out very soon. So we're going to need a process for this, for volume 2. It will be probably physically impossible for us to do this for the Rebel pack and for posters, but ideally we would like to do that. So we need something that will help us kind of in a more real-time way understand what's going on in our business and prepare for the future.